Tonight's Northwest Race Report brought to you in part by Blue Line Graphics, Wicked Fabrication, O'Hagan's Carts and Supplies, South Bay Automotive, Creative Ink and Design, and Scott Seal Coat. Informing, improving, and inspiring racers everywhere. The Northwest Race Report, Wednesday nights, 6:30, exclusively at terrybridges.com. And now, back to your horsepower and performance hosts, Terry Bridges, Glenn Tower, and Jeff Eden. Oh, what's going on, racers? We are back another week. Good to have everybody here. First of all, I guess we got to see who is P1 tonight. Oh, Dan Watkins continues the streak. Kyler Culver in the second spot, and Scott Warning is third today. So pretty good stuff there. We're back. Good show tonight. It's the UAS Grandnationals show tonight. We got some great guests coming up tonight. Wes Snow and our own newly crowned Grand National champion himself, Mr. Eric Stansberry.
West Coast.
Absolutely. But I got to welcome back my studs.
Your crew is in the house.
Man. By the way, I am your horsepower and performance broadcaster, Terry Bridges, and sitting in with me tonight, my good guys that make the show what it is, Mr. Glenn Lippett Tower. What's going on, Lip?
It's all good in the hood. You held your own last week. I'm pretty proud of you. You stayed focused and got it happening and stayed with it the whole time. There wasn't a lot of ums and what fors and how comes.
And epic.
Epic. Did I do that bad?
No, your epic was better.
It was good.
Oh,
and
nice.
My man, the loader himself, Jeff Eden. What's going on, buddy?
My rear end's bouncing off the ground. Too many hours this week.
Oh, is it bouncing?
He's dragging.
Yeah. Well, I will say the lake was nice. But, sometimes when you depart, you realize, you guys, it's a lot more fun when you guys are here. I can tell you that. A lot more fun. So I missed you guys.
I heard you use my name in vain once.
Yeah. I said, he's going to be all over me. And then I get my text and it says, you better bring your A game. Hey, wow. Mark Bergfeld in the house. How cool is that?
That is awesome.
Wow. Super. Jason Suchich in the house. Dave Chisholm. Wow.
Can't say enough about that guy.
Yeah, I mean, tonight we've got some results for you. We've got, but mainly it's going to be a lot about the Grands, and I think rightfully so.
It should be.
It's the biggest UAS event in the country, and I bleed UAS. That's all I know now. I mean, I've seen the Rotax stuff. I've been to their deal, and it is a cool deal. I mean, but if you take the Vegas backdrop away, it's just, so we're getting it done. I'm getting excited about it because, there isn't a huge backdrop there for the Grand. So I'm just imagining, man, could you imagine if the UAS Grands were at Vegas? I mean, good night, right? I mean, I'm thinking it would be, I don't know, you've never been to the Supernats, and it is a big deal. It is. Those guys, there's a lot of people from all over the world that show up there. But to me, it was just, maybe it's just because it's not as exciting to me.
Well, where did they hold it at down there?
Well, they held it at the Rio is where they held it for a lot of years in the parking lot there. And they made a parking lot track there. And, everybody was at the Rio and then they moved it to Convention Center last year. And it was nice, but it just, I don't know. It's a completely different vibe of people there. I mean, the racers are different. I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings or anything, but it's just it's like a bunch of stuffed shirts, right? I mean, that's what it seems like to me. I mean, it's just not that good down home. Hey, we're here to go racing, but I mean, it's look at me, ain't I pretty? I'm bigger, badder. I don't know. It's just a different vibe. So, but that's just my opinion. Some people, I mean, obviously they love it because they're spending good money, doing it. So I don't know. But all I know is it's good to have you guys back. Great to have everybody tune in. Sean Cardero Kelso in the house. Man, Mark McNutt, are you kidding me? This is like, wow. These are guest stars from, wow.
Scott Warning, Jason Susie.
I know. Good night. I mean, Rusty Rock. Wait a minute. I gotta rub my eyes. I gotta rub my eyes here. Does that say Rusty Rossmeyer?
He's actually at the shop working on stuff.
On stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's pretty cool. Well, what do you say we get into maybe some results? Because I know you got some, right?
Oh, yeah.
Well, let's do it. And as always, tonight's Winner Circle Wednesday brought to you by the good folks at Wicked Fabrication. Since 2002, Wicked Fab has been finding the best in automotive fabrication. Check them out online, www.wickedfab.com, or check them out on Facebook at Wicked Fabrication. Craig Wick and his gang are awesome. Well, man, there's where do we start? I guess we could start at well, Jeff, what do you got?
Well, I got a few here.
Well, get on it, man.
Okay. Grays Harbor didn't even race last weekend because of the week before was supposed to be the World Outlaws, and they got rained out.
Rain, go away.
Skagit had a whole bunch of stuff going on.
They always do, though.
With the flat track motorcycles.
Quads.
Flat
carts.
Yeah, flat carts.
Mm-hmm.
The one and only Kevin Bridges won it.
Pulls it down.
Dudes, how cool is that?
Ronnie Cox won the heat race. Pro motorcycles was Sam Halbert. Pro quads was Keelan Kraus. The open quad went to Malichi Gammer. Sorry if I screwed your name up, but that's just the way I am. The super senior, that's a plus 50 on the motorcycles, went to Rick Burchett. The 85cc mod motorcycles went to David Kolstad. Vintage motorcycles went to Steve Hall. The 250/450 went to Michael Hill.
That's our boy right there. He was one of the guests. So he was with us at Wicked Fab.
Yes, he was.
Ooh, that's right.
Yeah.
And
Kid can ride, man.
Then Raptor quads went to Malichi. What's his name?
It's Malachi.
Malachi. Nice.
Ooh, I guess I need to go to school and learn grammar. The open amateur motorcycle went to Michael Hill. 65cc modified went to Cale Maxinger. The veteran 30-plus motorcycle went to Jason Burchart. And the open twin went to Terry Curtis.
Wow. How about 5-0? He did pretty good.
Yeah, he did real good.
Speedway karting was very good. I'm getting chastised for my flat cart, but yeah, the speedway karts. It was an okay showing. You know, it's sad not to see more up there, but they definitely did do good. And you know, Ronnie was the fastest kart out there, but just not there in the end, sadly to say. But Kevin pulled it down, looking good out there.
That seems like that'd be a cool place to have a kart because that's a high bank track.
Oh man, they are just getting it in the banking there. Ooh wee!
I've never been to Skagit.
One of these days we'll have.
I got to get up there.
Oh man!
Oh,
It is something.
South Sound super late models went to Chad Hinkle. Outlaw Compacts went to Randy Butler. There was 24 Outlaw Compacts.
Nice.
Wow!
And they ran 93 laps. I don't know if they ran out of gas then or they just went to 93 for a reason. And the Bees went to Tony, Laban, and Walker. I love that.
I love that, he says.
3 guys. Sunset Sprints went to Lance Hallmark. The Dwarfs B-Main went to Eric Bergquist. B number 2 went to Kevin Benson. And the A-Main went to Ryan Martinez.
Sweet.
The Micro Open, Jeff Little. Micro Restricted was Lane Taylor. And I'd like to, in this restricted class, I'd like to give a shout out to Mason Deneen. Mason, I've been watching Mason. I was down there with one of his very first races this year, and he was struggling. And I've been watching as the years went on, and he's finishing on the lead lap now consistently. So he's stepping up. His program's doing good. I just shout out to Mason.
Yeah,
Progression.
he was always at the indoor too. He ran some quarter midget stuff. I watched him in that too. So yeah, everybody learns at a different pace, and that's what's cool when you get to see the light come on.
Yeah. And I know his dad from racing. He was racing modifieds down at Elma for a while. So,
cool. Yeah, that's super cool. Way to go, Mason. Attaboy.
The B's went to Taylor Owen, and the newbies went to Caitlin Ferris. Willamette didn't have really anything this last week except the World Outlaws. And that was Donnie Schatz won the World Outlaws. And I didn't realize this till I was reading the article, but that's the first track he ever won on in the World Outlaws was there.
Donnie Schatz?
Yeah.
Really?
So that's kind of a special place for him.
Wow, I guess.
And then the mods went to Superman.
Colin Weinberger.
Colin Weinberger. Cottage Grove, the sprints went to Roger Crockett. Late models went to Bryson James.
Tough. He's
Mods,
tough.
Craig Hansen. And Hornets went to Joe Markell. Now, I got a little bit of something here that's kind of cool, and I'll do it real quick for you.
Oh, no, that's cool.
Kind of looking at this week's schedule, and this is Skagit's last night of racing this weekend. And so I kind of looked at the points. In the 360 class, Colton Heath's leading. Travis Jacobson's only 40 points back. And Justin Youngquist is 98 points back. Sportsman sprint, Steve Parker leading the bunch. Jason Bundy 1 point behind.
Wow, you got to love those.
That'll be a killer night.
Yep.
The mods, Lawrence O'Connor's leading. Melvin Decker 4 points behind. Tyler Ketchum 12 points behind.
Ooh.
Mike Knox 44 points behind.
Wow.
So the mods can be anybody's. Tuners, I think they're a little bit, I don't know. Poor Boy Racing's leading it. Vance Hubbard's 33 out, and Means Racing is 52 out. And the midgets they're already done, and that championship went to Nick Evans.
Wow. Now, is that the Ford Focus midgets? Well, congratulations to Nick. That's pretty cool.
That is saying something.
But there's a lot of tracks that this is their last week of racing.
So now, do you think that the point when it comes down to like that, you got one guy 1 point, one guy 12 points, one guy 44, 90. Is that a testament to the way they've got the rules package set up and the way it's run, or do you think that's just the luck of the draw?
A lot of it's the luck of the draw, especially with the modifieds. Modifieds up there is it's a competitive class, and all them guys are fairly new into it. They're just getting their cars. Like Tyler Ketchum, this is only his second year. John Knox, it's his first year. Melvin used to race late models a long time ago, but I think it's his second year. And Lawrence, he's been racing since dirt was invented. So
right,
that's kind of. But it's a bad luck track at times.
Right.
I mean, we was up there 2 years ago 3 times and was taken out by a back marker taken out by a back marker every time.
Yeah.
So sometimes, and I know Lawrence has had that issue twice. And so the modifieds is a good package wherever you go. Down at Grays Harbor right now, Sweatman's leading it, but Scott Miller's only 12 points behind.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really close. It's anybody's. The modified all across the country is that way.
Up for grabs.
Yeah.
I wish I was Ricky Thornton Jr. last week because he won the super race back in Boone. And that was probably a $20,000 payday for him by the time it all got said and done.
Yeah.
With a Shaw chassis.
Well, yeah, and you look at that, and then you got the Show Me the Money event coming up here this weekend, 17th and 18th at SEMO. We used to be in the same $51,051 to win.
Wow.
Yeah, dude. And that's only part of it. I mean, they've got the juniors on there.
Isn't it like up around $150,000?
Well, there's $198,000 in purses. Pro Clone $51,050. Junior Purple Pro Plate $21,000. Green Plate in the juniors $6,000. And the semi-pro clones are raced for $3,000. medium heavy, and some of the other ones are, there's like $500, but that's on Saturday. And then on Friday, the Pro Clone heavies, they run for $5,000. So technically, these guys are running potentially for $55,000 and $51 for the weekend, like Johnny Cash did back there. He won $61,000 last year.
Yeah.
But I also remember one time they had a pro race at Woodburn, and everybody was wrecking their mother to try.
and then that is part of it. But these guys run for this kind of money. I mean, well, not for $50,000, but they run for $5,000, $6,000, $10,000 all the time.
Where does the money come from?
I wish I knew. I do, because let me just tell you, if the clone guys are worth $51,000, then by God, the UAS guys are worth $51,000 or more.
70,
yeah,
75.
or more. I mean, I'm just saying. Good grief, and that's really. I've said that all along. These guys they deserve to get paid.
Definitely.
I mean, there's just no two ways about it.
Why don't I finish up with what I get for next
do it.
week? And
Let's do it.
That way I don't have to worry about it at the end. Grays Harbor was going to be running mods, midgets, street stocks, and tuners this week. Skagit last night of racing, championship classes, all the classes, and that'll have fireworks. Championship night for the late models down at South Sound. They're having wing sprints, baby grands, and mini stocks and Stinger 8s. I-5 quarter midgets, it's their last race of the year. Sunset championship night for dwarfs, modified sport mods, street stocks, and pure stocks, and I think that's their last race of the year. Willamette late models, mods, super sports, sportsmen, street stocks, and hornets. They have one more race after this one. Cottage Grove, they're running monster trucks this weekend. Their racing program is done for the year. And this weekend down at Woodburn, they're having Lucas Oil number 2 race down there, which Randy should be there or headed that way shortly.
Parker,
yeah, it's another division race.
Is he still got the dairy farmers?
No, he's got Parker chassis, and they were up in Seattle testing, so they're getting things sorting out and heading down there. So definitely they'll
Sweet.
be there.
Yeah, so that'll be that. Well, they'll have one more big race in the year the next weekend, but that's another one of them biggies.
Mm-hmm.
That Californians come up, everybody's
It will be a big one.
650 cars. So
wow,
that's about I got.
Wow, cool. Well, I don't have a gob. Apparently, Evergreen was off because everybody was over at the Wenatchee Valley Super Oval. The West Coast Sprints were there. Randy DuBois won that. Mike Fott and Cam Neisinger. Do you know Neisingers?
No.
I know part of them. I want to say they're part of the quarter midget deal, but the Thunder Cars, Lloyd Sims won that. The Super Lates. This was cool. This was really cool. In qualifying, father-son won 2. Garrett Evans won. His son, Jan, was second quick. Dad ran a 12.535. Son ran a 12.582.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
Pushing on Dad's bumper.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah. So, they didn't finish too well, but Donnie Wannett won it. Joey Bird and Clint Habit was third. Braden Havens fourth, Alan Kress and Tyler Tanner. So, and I want to give a big shout out to Glenn Knutson, who they were there last year. They showed up. They had a fire in the pits. It burned their car to the ground. They lost everything. They got a car back together, and he had a great run. He finished 8th. Former Carter Molly Helmuth 11th. Brittany Zamora 13th. So yeah, that was pretty cool. That was the Super Lates. Donnie Wannett won that. So I'm glad to see Donnie Wannett win that finally. He gets kind of gets the monkey off his back. Can-Am Rotax Pro Kart Challenge Series was at Pat's Acres for their finale. S2 Shifters, Kyle Wick won it. The 125 Open, Andrew Wilson won it. Mason Buck, kid ran junior 2 4-strokes for years. I mean, you knew he was going to be good. He's starting to show he is getting it down. So he wins Rotax Junior. Ed Ports was second. Austin Torgerson, Josh Pearson, and Hannah Greenmeyer were 1, 2, and 3 in LO 206 Junior. Zach Fransky finished 4th, so not too bad for Zach. 206 Senior went to Austin Elliott. Harrison Mills and Kyle Wick was 3rd. LO 206 Masters, Brian Green, Rowdy. Have you ever met Brian Green?
No.
One of the coolest guys you'll ever meet. Greg Normandin and Steve King was 3rd, so good run for Steve King. Tag Senior, Andrew Wilson, Amanda Smalley. That's very cool. Amanda Smalley's a young lady that is she's going to be pretty good one day. She's just kind of cutting her teeth. Rotax Masters, Bill Cleveland and Michael Groff. And you might know Michael, well, maybe just from when we talk about it. He used to be the former president of the Tri-Cities Kart Club, and a great guy. He was a great president over there for he was on the board and stuff for 7 years, and just really made stuff happen. Micromax went to Ashton Torgerson. Minimax went to Ryan Dazal, and Kyle Dupel wins Rotax Senior. Parker McKean, a guy I haven't seen in I don't know how long he's been off the scene. He was 2nd, and Colton McCann was 3rd. Colton McCann's a Canadian. He now has got his ticket to the World Finals, which I'm not sure where they're at this year, but I'll have to look that up. But he did make it and got his ticket to go over there to the Worlds, because you have to win either a major series or a series or the Grandnationals, one or the other, in order to get your punch there. So yeah, and then Strebe, I had that. I've got it right here. Actually, you know what I'll do? I don't know. You probably can't read my writing, so they were a little shy, I think, for numbers. I was going to try to make it. Just coming back was just, man, it was just so tough. So hopefully, he said he might have a couple more rides before the end of the season. So
nice.
We might be able to get down there. Tyler Hood, your winner. Mike Strebe was fast time. Galen Stewart was 2nd. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is.
He's the other half of the, I don't know, is he the worst half or the better half of the Ford Focus?
We're just saying
we're going to say Galen Stewart the other half, right. Let's see, Matt Strebe was 3rd, Mike Strebe 4th, let's see, Jim Strebe 5th, and Lee Collins 6th. Hard Charger went to Matt Strebe. He passed 2, and Mike Strebe got +2 as well, so they tied for
Hard Charger.
Hard Charger, yep. So good stuff up there at Strebe Speedway. That's a cool track. Mark Bergfeld, if you're listening to that, it's a homespun track, and the guy's basically in his backyard. They converted an old horse barn into a shop. And that's where they do all the tune-ups and repairs and whatnot. And they get to, what is it, the Mean 18, I think is what it's called. And it's they've got people on waiting lists, so it must be something good. And then, let's see, coming up, of course, we did say the Show Me the Money Nationals at SEMO Raceway. That's in Sikeston, Missouri. And, boy, it just sounds cool to say $51,051 to the winner. And that comes in good old green, cold, hard cash. There's no check. You know, last year at SEMO, it was $50,000, and he had the money stuck underneath the front seat of his pickup, and they were strapped. You know, they had the strap around the money, and it was right. Yeah, of course there was a gun laying on the floorboard too. So, but I'm just kidding. But no, Billy Vandergrift does a great job back there. I was blessed enough to be able to call that one. I went back with Kurt Burris. It was just phenomenal. So, yeah, that'll be going on this weekend. We got something big going on here if the weather cooperates. We got ORV's got their last summer Sizzler Series event.
Yeah, definitely the last race of the year. I know that the weather's not looking good, but, you know, it always does that to us. So I think we're just going to buckle down, and if we can get a race in, we will. If we won't, then we'll rain it out and get a banquet in. So either way, we're ready for it, and I'll be there on Friday.
Well, you know, we got our two guests. Our first guest is going to be Wes Snow, who was tied for the Unlimited All-Star first place going into the championship event. But before we go there, we got about 5 minutes. So I'm reading this deal online yesterday, I get this CartLink newsletter just so I can kind of, I don't follow it as closely maybe as I should because it's more, asphalt stuff. But TKM has a series. I mean, this is just crazy. And now, just tell me how you interpret this rule. It says one set of slick tires to be used across all 5 rounds. Now, I don't know about you, but that tells me that you're going to run the same set of slicks for 5 different races. And then it goes on to say wets are unrestricted, and your 3 worst heats and worst finals will be dropped from the championship points. Now, am I reading that right?
Wow, that's interesting.
I mean, now I don't know. I mean, there's a money saver, right? One set of tires over 5 used across all 5 rounds. Yeah, I'm thinking, huh?
Well, that's if you end up with a warm day and a loose cart, you could be in bad shape because you could use them up right away.
Yeah, I mean that's crazy. And then the other question was, I was just thinking about this last night. Was it brings up the question, and you guys can chime in on the chat line if you would. But okay, so you run your heat races, right? And let's just say for whatever reason you get in a wing ding or whatever, and you're out, right? So you're pretty much out for when it really counts in the finals, right? Or in the main event. So it brings up the question, should heats be made to count for something? Because right now they really count for nothing other than your starting position, which is important. But what if you were to give points for those heat races that went to the tally or went to your total, and could it help clean up stuff, or could it go the other way and hamper? I don't know. It just made me start thinking last night. It was kind of like, wow. Because, you read, and I read this article on CartLink as well, when you get up on the road race stuff and the car road race stuff, the carters are considered the dirty drivers. And they say it's because of all the nonsense they got going on here, guys being aggressive and stuff in there. And so they think they can do this in the big car. So anybody that's a road race over there, they consider the guys coming up from karting to be dirty drivers. And is that true? Well, I don't know. You read the stuff on EK or e-karting news, and yeah, I mean the stuff that nonsense they had going down at the Supernats and some of the other events. These guys just one of the street races was just a Lancaster. It was just a nightmare. I mean, guys just, bombing in, stuffing guys getting hurt, all kinds of stuff. It was just a mess. So, I don't know. I mean, I hate to say we're dirty, and I know it's not really for the oval guys as much, but I think there could potentially be even that in the oval stuff, right? Guys just not thinking or whatever. So,
well, you're also on a bigger. You take a car versus a cart. Until you got used to things, you would have a tendency to maybe put the nose in where it doesn't belong.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, either that or maybe the guys that road are just soft. I don't know. You could argue that point too. I don't. That's the whole thing. I mean, but it was brought to the attention. I mean, somebody wrote a pretty substantial article on it, and so I don't know. I was just thinking last night. I was thinking, wow, it's.
Well, I was reading a deal with ARCA, and ARCA's talking about eliminating practice. To where, like Winston Cup, you go out and you get, 3-4 practices and all that stuff. They're talking about eliminating it to eliminate the tires. And there's a bunch of they're talking about it with the late models the pavement late models back in the Midwest and stuff about it. Just to drop the tire cost. And instead of having, like the one track they said, and it was this week, they're going to be running, and they had an open test on Thursday. Well, how many guys are going to go there and just blast through a set of tires?
Easily. That's what I mean.
$2,000, $2,500 for tires.
Well, go back to that show me race. I'm going to tell you what, you're going to see tires like you have never seen before. I mean, There were, I mean, I've never seen tires in my life like they had. I mean, boxes upon boxes of tires, brand new. I mean, there had to be thousands of dollars in tires there that, I mean, it was unbelievable. Their tire bills have to be just astronomical. I don't know. It's mind blowing when you think about it. But you're right. I mean, that does bring up, something's got to be done. I mean, eventually the tire thing is going to kill it. I mean, as much as it is a player now, I think it can also be the one thing that could easily kill it as well, right?
Well, I mean, yeah, that's the whole thing. I mean, what they're trying to do is eliminate, with their thought process, one practice, qualify, and you go racing.
That's how they used to do it.
Well, not anymore. Even down at South Sound down here, you got a 25-minute open. They're practicing before you ever can get in, and then they go out and they got I think it's 30 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a qualifying time. You go out there and just start running laps for qualifying.
Here we go. We got our your favorite drivers and people of interest in the motorsports world. It's time for In the Seat, powered by Blue Line Graphics. All right. Hey, our guest tonight, our first In the Seat guest, brought to you by Blue Line Graphics. Brian Esquini and his gang there doing a great job, is none other than Mr. Carbon Fiber himself, Mr. Wes Snow. What's going on, Wes? Thanks for being on the show, buddy. How are you doing?
Thanks for having me, Terry. I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. You know, I know you knew. You said, man, when I wrote you the note, hey, can you be on the show? You said, yeah, but you better let me cool down. I can only imagine what that sinking feeling had to be when you rolled into turn one there and that thing decided to come around on you.
Well, it didn't really sink in until I stopped after the race, and Eric was right in front of me, and they were having such a big celebration right in front of me. It was it's definitely hard to swallow. There was a lot of hard work and a lot of effort behind the scenes that nobody ever sees, that my dad and my teammates, I mean, it's not a single man's effort by any means. There's so many people that put me in that situation, and I felt like I had let them down,
Oh yeah. I mean, I don't know how you could possibly feel like you let anybody down, but I mean, that's kind of what I was sitting here and I wrote an article because I was reading all this stuff and it was yes, it was. Were you the fastest guy there? By the looks of things, if you watch the tape, absolutely you were. But there's also a lot of stuff that tape doesn't show. Maybe Stansberry was super fast, but irregardless of that, he wouldn't have won if Wes wouldn't. Well, you know what? Wes did spin, and so really, who would have won, who could have won, who should have won, really doesn't matter. I mean, the fact is that Eric did what he had to do, and he crossed. He did, the rules say, hey, you got to cross. It doesn't tell you how quick you have to do it. Is you just got to get 20 laps in before the next guy. And
it's a race of attrition, and we all know that going in, and we all know that you have to be there in the end. And not only that, but I mean, 19 laps. It doesn't really matter who's leading. It only matters really who's leading on that one lap. And Eric was able to put it all together, and I'm sure he had a lot of fine people behind him. I saw him working in the pits, with a lot of different people there with him that were all, like I was saying, it's a team effort, and, their team earned it and they deserve it. And I was happy for them. Obviously, I was not happy for myself, but, it's been long overdue for the West Coast racers, and to be honest with you, I feel as though many of them are ahead of where it's at right now here. A lot of the ones out here have been kind of left behind, and the West Coast racers tend to be really following that leading edge to, I guess just strive for that extra little bit of speed. And it's so easy to fall behind in racing if you're not, constantly working at it. If you feel as though you're fast enough, you're falling behind.
So do you think that's just because back there the UAS has been such a, I mean, all the big players have been there, so is it a matter of been there and done that? And so that's why they're not quite on that edge. I mean, and the West Coast guys are hungry, or I mean,
Well, the West Coast guys are hungry because they don't get the accolades that they deserve. And the East Coast guys, you've got some out here that are extremely fast, and they're just like some of the West Coast guys that go anywhere and win. But you've also got a lot more racers out here. Okay, so y- if you're racing on the West Coast and you show up and you've got to race against every time you're going to have to race against one of those select few really good ones. Well, out here, it's not really that way. There's a lot of guys racing events where the competition level's not as high. And, obviously, when you go out and you get your butt kicked, it's going to, make you strive to go home and work on your stuff and get better. And unless you're really traveling to the big series races out here, you're not running against that level of competition. Whereas you guys don't have as many races on the West Coast, and I think that forces pretty much all of you to race each other on a consistent basis, and that keeps you all stepping your game up. That's my opinion on it.
wow.
That's a pretty good assumption. I like that assumption. There are a lot more tracks back there where you are, and a lot more racers. That's for sure. But I don't. You guys have a lot of different dirt back there, and you all make it happen. It doesn't matter what it's on, and that's the great thing. Just to see y'all back there. Getting it done where you can get it done, and that's important and fun. So I like that.
Yeah, there's a lot of excellent tracks out here, and the the thing is, they're all I can travel to many different tracks in a short amount of time, and that's really nice. And that gives me a lot of, I guess, options. Not only options, but the ability to go do more testing and do more racing. And I don't take as much advantage of that as I should or could. And but if I were on the West Coast, I understand that that would be a harder scenario. So I don't feel like there's as many races and there's as many tracks based off of what my friends tell me. And I'm sure that makes it tougher to say, if you're not able to test things and try things out and work on certain aspects of your game, then I'm sure that it makes it more difficult.
Well, one could argue, Wes, that I was sitting here thinking, and again, when I wrote that article, one could argue that what the way you handled yourself in and the way you could have handled yourself, but the way you did handle yourself could have quite possibly actually been a bigger win for you than if you would have won it. And I know that doesn't heal the actual that space in your gut where you said, man, I had, geez, I should have had that. But I mean, really, when you look at it, the way you went about handling yourself, I mean, it was nothing short of, I mean, that's how a champion handles things like that.
First of all, I really appreciated that. And I really appreciated so many people giving me such kind words, after the event and how that all was handled. I'd like to say that that article touched me, and I appreciated so many of my friends calling me and texting me and telling me to keep my head up. But you said it right, Terry. You were so right in the fact that the junior UAS kids, they kept coming by and talking to me, and they kept they treated me like I was something more special than I am. Okay, I'm just another racer out there, but they didn't view me that way. And if I would have, you know, I guess when I see my son look up to people, what I really want him looking up to is not only somebody that does excellent in their area, but somebody that is an excellent person. And whether I win or lose, in the end, not very many people will ever say, when they're speaking at my funeral, nobody's going to say, well, in 2016, Wes Snow won that UAS championship. They're going to say, Wes was a great person, and, or this or that. And that's how they'll really remember you. And, so racing is great, and it brings me together with all these people, and it allows me to show talents that's God given and that we've worked so hard to make ourselves, better. But in the end, it's what kind of a person we are. And so I felt, really special that you recognized that and that other people did as well. That made me feel like, I was doing right. And, but Eric Stansberry, I am coming for you soon. No, I'm just kidding.
Like heck you are.
No, that orange cart was was undefeated until I spun out on that lap, and got second place with it there. And it has been a killer performing piece all season for me. And from the stuff that Chris Mello made for me to all of the innovation and hard work and effort that my dad put into building so many special things on it, to each individual person, there were so many that put so much stuff into it to get it to where it was. I was proud of it. And rather the driver failed or he didn't, the kart showed the performance and all the hard work and effort we put into those aero packages. It was really getting to show its stuff. And in the end, we proved our point. Our stuff was working, and win or lose, our kart's really fast and it's performing well. And there was a lot of naysayers. There's a lot of people, claiming big astronomical lap times that were so fast and this and that. But in the end, when you watch the video, it's hard to deny how much that downforce and that aero package worked.
Oh, it was. I mean, there's no doubt it was fast. I mean, I don't think you'd have to be blind to even have something to argue. You can't argue it, but the question is, are you thinking about bringing that piece down to the classic? Because you probably want to redeem yourself there too a little bit, right?
Well, I would rather not comment on that.
I just have to say, Wes, you had the kart to beat out there all weekend. From the green flag to the checkered, you were the one to catch. You were the one to beat. It was unfortunate what happened. Those that don't know what happened, I believe you got into a back marker as you were passing through the field and broke your nose loose. And I haven't talked to you about this, but just reading some of the stuff on the internet and that you were literally holding up the nose of the cart with your feet as the race progressed. And towards the end of it, you just didn't have any more in you to hold the nose up and keep driving. So when it finally did fall down, that was when you spun out. It wasn't because you missed your mark or anything else. It wasn't any of that. You were on mark and doing your job with an awesome kart and making great laps. So, don't let that get you down. Just keep believing in yourself and and the good Lord that put you there. You did a great job. Stansberry ended up winning it, and my hat's off to him. Nothing taken away from him. But, had that back marker not gotten into your nose, you would have been it. And quite frankly, dude, you showed it. You were it.
Well, I really appreciate that. I won't say, that track had amazing G-force. When I was in the corners, I was hitting like a minimum of 62 mile an hour. And that's what my Micron 5 showed. And I've never been on a track that was, minimum speeds like that. And it was actually pulling on me so hard that I could feel my seat flexing out, and thought, wow, is this seat going to even hold me in here? And so I was already putting in the physical effort that it took, and the amount of and just being in super physical condition and great shape was greatly underestimated by most racers. I know that many said, wow, I just couldn't make it and I pulled off. And so you've got to give your hats off to Eric and Corey Payton both for, not fatiguing and hanging in there for those 20 laps with those G-forces and the roughness of the track. If you watch any in-kart cameras, any GoPro videos, you can see the helmets just shaking, because although the track was kind of smooth, it was also, it had some bumpiness to it, and at the speeds we were running, it intensifies those bumps. So, and let me say this too. I quit holding my nose up before that last lap.
Oh.
I couldn't. I had physically given everything I had before that, and I got comfortable thinking that, hey, I can still drive this thing. And so to blame it on the nose dragging the ground, it sounds really good, and it's very possible that that's what did happen. But I was so fatigued at that point, I honestly can't tell you what caused the spin. So,
wow.
Hats off to you, man. That's wow. A lot to admit right there, and that's a lot of the case. I hear that on week in and week out on race weekends. People just don't understand. It's not a walk in the park out there. It's a very physical drive and ride for whoever's in that cart, and that's a big thing to admit right there. Is just it's a lot to demand on the human body.
Yeah, it is. And Wes, you said it when you said, people we try to preach it on the show, but you've got to be, these things aren't, everybody thinks, you say karting or go-karts, and they think a fun kart, I think, is what they think, right? Or they're that they're nothing difficult. I mean, these things, pound for pound, dollar for dollar, size for size, what they are comparably, all things being equal, this is no different than a NASCAR Cup car or anything else. I mean, you guys are splitting hairs. You guys are looking for every little, tenth of a second here and a hundredth there. So, I mean, people just don't understand how intense this sport is.
Well, I have an accelerometer in my tack, and it tells the amount of G-force that my cart pulls in the corners and accelerates down the straightaways. And we were pulling over 2 Gs in the corner, and that track was D-shaped. So you really only got one straightaway, and everybody's looking at it and thinking there's 2 big straightaways. But if you were there, you could completely tell that you were in a turn for about 75% of the track.
Unbelievable.
So when you're pulling we were pulling over 2 Gs. So you do that for probably 60% of the track. Wow. And to be honest with you guys, I've raced many, many races, and I have never felt, that exhausted. And a lot of it was trying to hold my feet up. The nose dropped, and I was trying to. It held my floor pan up. I had my floor pan slid up into my nose. Well, when it dropped, my floor pan hit the ground, and it broke it off. And when it did, my feet were literally touching the ground, so I was having to hold them up to stay on the pedals. And when you're in that much of a strain and you're trying to hold your leg up in like a 5-minute crunch.
That's unbelievable.
It got to the point to where my arms were tingling.
So you're telling me if you were to rest your feet like normally where there was no floor pan there, they would have drugged the dirt?
Oh,
my heels are gone on my shoes.
Yep. That's what he said earlier this week.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, and I'll send you a picture of that.
I believe that's just, man, oh man. See, that's what I'm talking about. And you got clones running for $51,000, right? It's a head scratcher. It's an absolute head scratcher. You guys deserve to get paid, Wes Snow.
Well, Terry, I do. I get paid. I get paid by my kids when I come off the track. I get paid by my friends. All my friends call me and they talk to me. And if anybody has ever called me, they'll tell you. I'll share about any bit of information they ask me for. And that's one thing that we pride ourselves with. Not only do we want, if you buy something from me or if you don't buy something from me, you can call me and ask me stuff and I'll share it with you. And, I had somebody come up to me at the track that bought my competitor's stuff. And he was like, what are you doing for this and what are you doing for that? And I said, well, the guy that supplies you with these things is not giving you that information? And he said, no. And I said, okay, well, here, I'm an open book. And so it's more about the obviously I want to win and I'm a real competitor and I will do anything it takes to try to win that race besides, put my integrity on the line. So, but it's, if we dominate and you just get the few fast guys, and then, so 75% of the field is maybe so many tenths off, then eventually they're going to get tired of that. Yep. And I call out the faster guys and say, hey, help those guys. It's what builds the class. It's what helps the sport grow. And when the clone guys come over into it and they're not immediately fast, they could jump back into what they know and they could be really fast at it. And, they're looking for someone like you to help them. And so I urge them all to do so. And it's so important because, and at the end of the day, how well we handle ourselves and how much we help those people, that says everything about who we'll get to race the next time we're there. So.
Wow.
Definitely so. The agony of defeat is not always as great as the cherishing the victory, but still, like you said, to continue to build the class, to help the people that are coming up, it only makes us stronger, and it also makes us, have to step up as well. So it's definitely a great thing, and to hold out on anybody is shame on you.
Agreed. And cart counts are low right now, and the reason I contribute a lot of it too is the fact that you have certain people that dominate and then you've got the rest of the group, and it's almost come to the point to where I feel like we need to run, two separate mains. And that way, look, honestly, if I'm a really fast cart, I don't want to be out there lapping the same guy twice, okay? It's really bad for me, and it's really bad for him. If we had, maybe a split where they said, okay, if you're this much off, you're going to the B main, and we race that. Maybe that would entice more to come into that, and then they could race their way into the top level. I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there.
I know where you're at with that, and that's you want everybody to get their due, right? So even with a B main, hey man, you win a B main, that's still nothing to feel shamely of, right? Yeah, I mean it's something you should be proud of. I mean, especially with that group. But you're right.
That's how you work your way up.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a great point. And so, but it's like everything. I know Mark Bergfeld's on the show. He may be listening, but it's not a knock on the series. I think it's more of, we all love the series. We want to see it continue to prosper and become the series that, I mean, it's a gold mine. It truly is. I mean, it could be one of the most phenomenal things on the planet, I think, because it's got everything. It's got the eye candy. It's got the horsepower. It's got, just outstanding drivers and outstanding people. I mean, it's just bred for success, I think.
I do as well, and I think that what I just touched on was the main reason that your entry levels are falling. And it's not just because the slower guys don't want to get lapped. It's because the faster guys many times get tangled up, and they, destroy a lot of hard work and equipment because they're traveling at much higher speeds and they're closing in on this guy. And this guy can hear his motor coming. And so he starts looking over his shoulder. And when he starts looking over his shoulder, he's swerving, and then you have big, catastrophes. And I've seen that happen many times this year. And I've seen some of the best racers in our sport get so frustrated that they don't want to come back. And they're like, I just don't want to race because, I get my stuff destroyed. And I get that. But I also get the fact that, what are you going to do? Run the guys off that are a second slower? No, you need to help them get faster so that they can compete, so that we can get our entry levels up.
Right.
So it's got to be the best for both worlds. And you want everybody to get to race, but you don't want the slower guy to get his stuff destroyed because this faster guy comes by and knocks him out of the way. And you don't want the faster guy to get his stuff destroyed because the slower guy was in front of him and could hear him coming,
Yeah.
So you got to be able to cater to both.
Well, Mark McNutt said it took 2 guys to get Iron Mike Evans out of his cart. So, I mean, and Iron Mike is no joke, I'm pretty sure. So,
well, if you watch a video that was shared to fourcycle.com by Hoppy, it shows a very good view of me after the race. And if you look in on me, you can see how I not only was physically fatigued, but I was mentally, just in shock. And it's a great video,
Yeah.
It was really emotional to go back and watch, for my loved ones. They were like, "Oh, we're so sorry." I'm like, "Hey, that's racing. If you're not extremely mentally tough, then this sport's not for you,
It isn't. It truly isn't. Well, Wes, I appreciate you being on the show, man. I just think you've done more for your career in not winning it than if you would have. I know you wanted to win it, and don't get me wrong, but man, it just shows. I mean, my respect level for you is just raised. I mean, like 1,000%. I mean, I just.
You were the class.
Yeah,
of the class.
you were. I mean, that's all you can say. I mean, just it doesn't get any better than that.
Well, thank you guys so much. And one quick thing, I'd like to say congratulations to Jan and Eric and their whole team. Everybody that was involved, Robbie, Jim, Corey, all of them. Phenomenal performance out of you guys. And I wanted to see a West Coast win just as much as anybody, and I want all my friends to know that, and I want that to be public. And I have just as great of friends out there as I do here, and I have a lot of respect for them and being able to put that win together. So
wow, you're the man, Wes Snow. You are the man.
We know you're coming for it next year.
And you owe me a bunch of articles, I'll have you know.
Well, it's coming soon, but I think, my cart was showing that nose, I think several people better be getting on that nose soon.
For sure, man. For sure. Well, appreciate it, Wes, and we'll be in touch soon, okay?
appreciate you guys very much, and I'll talk to you soon.
All right, Wes. Thank you.
Thanks,
All right,
Wes.
thank you. Thank you.
How about that, Wes Snow? Does it get any better than that, guys?
It doesn't. He's a phenomenal individual.
Come on. That's the biggest race in the country for the UAS guys. I mean, it just, and so, I don't know. I mean, you've seen it. You've seen tantrums and this and that. I mean, there's just no place for it. I don't think. Oh, here we go. Here's our second guest right here. Your favorite drivers and people of interest in the motorsports world.
Hello.
It's time for In the Seat. Hang on, Eric. Powered by Blue Line Graphics. All right, our second In the Seat guest brought to you by Blue Line Graphics. Brian Esquini and his gang doing the job in vehicle wraps and graphics. Look for him to improve. They've had a little slouch back there, but BLG is coming back strong. So our second guest here is I'm not sure what he was thinking there for those last few laps, but he's our own West Coast Grand National Unlimited All-Star Champion, Mr. Eric Stansberry. What's up, BS7?
Hey man, how's it going? Thanks for having me, guys.
Oh man, thanks for being here. I mean, I'm sure you probably listened to Wes Snow's interview, and I mean,
yes, sir.
What do you say to that? That guy just lost the biggest race in the country.
Well, I was thinking about that. It's pretty funny. I was thinking about that, right? And listening to Wes and getting to meet him for the first time. I talked to him on the phone a little bit before we went down there, and so when I saw him walking through the pits, I'm like, dude, that's that Wes Snow guy. I have to go over and say hi. Heard a lot about him, have a lot of respect for him, everything he's doing. Just in general. This is before everything even started. We started running karts. That weekend. And, but just listening to him, I'm looking at my American Muscle Car magazine, my, little flyer here, and reading it, ingenuity, camaraderie, sportsmanship. That's what it's all about. So it was really, he's a good example of why we do this. But, there were so many people there that I met that had that, we're all in it. We're all doing the same thing. We all have the same passion. So it was so cool getting to be in a foreign place, with foreign people, really. Jimmy and Robbie, we met, we get to hang out with them a little bit, but still not a bunch. But just getting to be down in the South, getting to race with all these guys kind of in their environment, it was really, really cool.
It's got to be. And here you are in this strange world, but yet everybody feels like you've known them forever, right? That's what truly stands out in my mind would be so cool. And here's the part that makes me just sick, right? So I was going to go back there, right? And it's like, it didn't work out. And what do, you fool? You go down there and you win it, and I'm not there.
Well, yeah, it was kind of funny. We went down there. We were planning this trip, and talking to Jerry Stevens and talking to Kleiber quite a bit about getting this, and wanted it to happen, and we were thinking about going back to the Big O, and that was just kind of we wanted to support the UAS and what it does, and we thought this event would be really cool to do because we want to support the UAS and open kart racing in general, and we thought this was going to be a good event to do it, and yeah, so I'm trying to even remember where I was going there. I got too many things I was thinking about I want to talk about.
No, it's okay, man. It's perfectly all right. Let me just ask you. Maybe it'll come back to you. So you see the white flag flies, and you see Wes. Well, you didn't at first, but you saw Wes go around, and you see him spun up there. What was going? Were you going? Oh my God!
Yeah, that's something close to that. I was, before that, we'll take you back a couple laps. So, I started ninth, made it to 7 right away, and then I was following Corey, and I was trying to figure out how to pass him. We had the boys putting Austin Carter underneath me, put really good tires on the car, and it took about 4 or 5 laps for them to really come in. and then it kind of progressively got better and better. And I was trying to get my quarter real clean, trying him on the outside and on the inside, but I was like kept telling myself, him not going to wreck both of us, making this pass. So I finally got a good run on him, got by him, and we were catching some people, but I could see Yao and Wes creeping away kind of quickly. I was just like, gosh darn it, I got to make a move here. So, made a move, and we passed, and then, kind of marched up to the field pretty quick there in a couple laps, and I could see Wes up there way off in the distance, and when I was exiting 4, I saw Wes. I didn't even see the white flag because I was so focused on what Wes was doing up there, and okay, if there was a caution, I didn't know how many laps were left, and if there was a caution, we could get up there and we could put on a really good show. I thought we were going to have a really fun race together. And then, as I saw him enter the corner and the cart was kind of sideways, I'm like, that doesn't look good. And then I noticed he was in the marbles, and I was thinking to myself, holy moly, this isn't happening. And then, I was able to get by him. I was kind of worried when I was entering 1, like if he was going to pinch back down into the lane, but he's a racer. He knows what he's doing. He's not going to drive right back down in the lane and take everyone else out. And, was able to make the pass. And when I came around, I took the checkered flag, and I didn't really believe it because I didn't pay attention to the white. And so I kind of stayed in the throttle in the 1 and 2 and was coming out, and then the yellow lights came on. So I truly didn't believe that that's what would happen. And I was thinking, okay, I think I might have been in first because I was counting cars going by him. I was, okay, cool, that was in front of that was, counted down. And when I came around, Sarchet was kind of jumping down, off the wall, and he was pointing at me kind of like I had did it. And I pointed back at myself like, me? This guy? From Vancouver, Washington? You got to be kidding me. So,
wow, dude.
Yeah,
that's epic. Sorry, Jeff. I just had to use it.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. Like listen to Snow, how he was talking about how the track was really fatiguing. And, that was the only track I've ever been on where I thought, my gosh, my neck is getting sore. Like, okay. And I was thinking, gosh, I wonder how many laps are left because my neck is getting sore. I've never had that feeling before. And then, I had to tell myself as I was going down the back straight and the front straight, take breath, breathe, calm, keep oxygen in your body. So, obviously if you're not breathing, you're going to get a lot more fatigue, right? So, having to tell myself all these things because it was a pretty draining race. Definitely the most draining I've ever been in before.
Wow. So what was Jan's reaction? Jan, he doesn't get excited about much of anything, or at least he doesn't show it.
Oh, he's pretty excited. He's always calm, cool, and collected. For the most part, unless I do something real dumb. But and I do that a lot. So
occasionally.
Yeah, occasionally I do silly things, right? But he just came up to me and said, you did it, son. Good job. And
wow.
He's like, you're it. You're the kid. You did it. You deserve it. And which to me that was pretty cool. He didn't have to say much. We both obviously it was pretty emotional for us because
I can. Yes.
Yeah, we haven't been racing 20 years and but we put a lot into what we do, and we really think about what we do, and just constantly trying to make things better. And obviously most people know or hear about Jan, and nothing's ever good enough. It can always be better. And obviously you could tell that go-kart, the way it stayed together, and the horsepower that 450 makes is incredible. And it's pretty awesome.
And a lot of people, is he ever? And I mean, you just said it's emotion. I can only imagine the emotion that had to be going between you guys. I mean, it kind of gets me emotional here, right? I mean, I can just picture just how cool that must have been. But everybody thinks you send that motor out somewhere, but Jan does all the work on that motor, right? There's no dyno, none of that crap. He does everything in the shop.
Yeah, it'd be fun to know how much horsepower that thing actually made, but it's just not something we're concerned. We're not worried about how much horsepower it makes because at the end of the day, it's insignificant. We're worried about how to make the car go fast and how to handle well. And it's funny because we wanted a good, reliable piece. We had a BRC, and that BRC was awesome. I loved that thing. And but it's hard to pass. Hard to pass these big 4-strokes with that 2-stroke as powerful and as fast as that thing was. And some of the bull rings that we run on up here, it was hard to do that. Basically, following Wayne Felch is kind of what forced us to go with a 450, because that thing, that he had, so hard to pass and so much torque with that thing. It was a fast deal. So that's when Jan came up with, let's do this 450 deal, and we did the chain drive inside, and that worked real well. And then he's decided he wanted to cut the cases apart and build a belt drive, and it took quite a while to get it right, but he's a smart guy, and made it work, and it's been fantastic for us, knock on wood.
Yeah, for sure. Wow. I mean, you go back there, it was only your second time going back, and you win the deal in your second try. I mean, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, we went to Missouri twice. I think 2012, 2013. Second time I went, I had broken ribs from a car accident when I backed it into the wall. But, we had more help, this time. Obviously, we, made some relationships back there. Oh, Jim Bob, amazing dude. And, we kind of hit it off, and, we're pretty close buddies. We, feel a lot of the same things, and, really enjoy racing, and we enjoy each other's company. And we have a really good time together. And Sarchet was kind of the same way. He, when he said, "Oh, you're gonna really like Robbie when you meet him." And then when he came out for the DK race, it was like, geez, we were kind of like distant brothers or something. We get along really good together. And so having those guys in our pits back there, I mean, that was huge. I mean, and I can honestly say that none of this stuff would have happened without those guys. I mean, yeah, we can go back there. Me and Jen know we're fast, and we know we have, a really good piece of equipment. But when you're back there racing on that stuff, tires in this thing is so important. And just running a big race like that, it takes a lot of people. It takes a team to be able to do it. And those guys were huge. Jeff Bear came down. That's one of Robbie's buddies. I got to meet him for the first time this weekend, and he was a huge help. And, the Paytons were a huge help. It was so cool how this was like just a huge team effort. It wasn't one individual guy. I mean, I had, like I said earlier, I had a really easy job. All I had to do was drive a go-kart, and I had to not be stupid. And then everything else was going to fall into place. Those guys worked their tails off. We didn't get any practice on Saturday because we were trying to do some chain adjustment, and we had a little funny chain bind, and so we did this, fixing that, and then we didn't get any practice at all, and we had to go out and qualify, and we had to qualify. We had our qualifying tires good, and then they didn't get us, and so we had to go qualify 2 more times. And so, I mean, the way everything fell together, and I stayed cool. Those guys made me feel really comfortable, made me feel really, really good, so I never got worried. I never got stressed. I never was like, oh gosh, we can't do this or anything. Never panicked, but they were like awesome coaches, and it was just a whole team deal. I didn't feel like I won this championship. I felt like it was Jan, Robbie, Jim Bob, me, Payton. It felt like it was all of ours together. I still don't feel like this is my deal. I feel like it was all of ours, because it wouldn't have happened without all those people combined to make it happen.
Oh yeah, I mean, I totally get what you're saying, but I'll bet on the same hand, those guys are saying the exact same thing about you. I mean, there's just no doubt. We know you. I mean, so a lot of these things that we know, we take for granted, right? That you're a great guy. That you're one of the guys that makes the series up this way what it is. I mean, there's just no question. You notice when Stansberry's not there, and you're the guy to watch out for. I mean, whether they admit it or not, whatever, Ronnie knows how tough you are. I mean, anybody, Diotti, they're not gonna fool around and take you lightly. So, I mean, a lot of this stuff we take for granted because we see it week in and week out. But, you go back there and you're with those guys, and I know they're feeling the same way about you as you are about them.
Well, yeah, I don't know. it's pretty cool. I'm still speechless. I don't think it's really sank in completely of what I've done. You know, I saw Wes, and when I saw him spinning, it was like my heart almost sank, because you almost hate to win a race like that. It's like, man, I want to be door to door with you, and I want to, you know, I didn't have the opportunity to start up front with him, so we could have put on a killer show and go and do battle. So, you know, in one sense, it's like, dang, I don't want to win a race like that. But in the same time, I've lost a lot of races like that, you know. And
does that mean you'd give it back?
I don't know. We can't do that.
Heck,
there's no give back.
No way, man.
No one ever gave any back to me, but I know what Wes saying. He's coming for me, and I talked to him 2 years ago after I think it was last year, maybe after the Holiday Classic. We talked on the phone, and he was saying that, you know, us little boys, everyone calls us the little boys because, you know, we're good looking and really strong, but you know, he said we're gonna do a lot in the future. He's like, me and you both, we're gonna do a lot in the future, and we're gonna create a lot of headaches for people. And I think we're starting to do that, and hopefully it just continues, you know, and we keep creating a lot of headaches and
right,
keep moving forward with this.
Well, you know what I noticed? One of the things I noticed, so I was seeing a lot of pictures of Wes, you know, obviously, and I'm thinking to myself, man, that dude's a beast. I mean, he's built like a bulldog, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yet you hear him talk, and he's this real easygoing, soft-spoken guy, and I'm like, wow. I just, you know, I'm going, what? I couldn't wrap my head around. I mean, this he looks like a beast, but yet you hear him talk, and he's just this soft-spoken, easygoing dude, and it's like, man, I mean, I wouldn't want to lip off to the guy. Yeah. I mean, it's like, holy cow. But, man, that is, I mean, I had to double take when I saw this thing, right? I'm looking at this thing, and I'm going, you have got to be kidding me. I mean, it was just like, wow. I mean, I was so happy for you, man. I almost couldn't contain myself. I mean, it was just like, man, I was just proud as heck. I mean, it was just awesome.
Yeah, I kind of felt the same way. I've still done that a few times. Like that really happened, you know. So. Wow.
Would you do it again?
Oh yes, sir.
Yeah, I know. See, it's that's man. So so what are the plans now for J&W Motorsports? Are you guys going to the Classic, or are you going to take
Yeah, I mean that's really what we want to do. We want to go to the Classic, and you know, we want to you know, obviously be at the GNs next year there as well. We always want to go to the Classic. We've only got to make it 1 year. It's real hard because with work and family and travel and getting the, you know, all your equipment down there. I mean, you know, it doesn't drive itself down there, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So we were fortunate enough to ship our stuff across the country to Ohio and then get it, and then Peyton's hauled it down there to Mississippi for us. That was the only way that was even happening, because, you know, it can't take a week off work to haul it back and forth across the country.
So does that mean you're not going to be at ORV this weekend?
I am actually in Vegas this weekend. So,
oh, yeah, and deservingly so. Did you drive a clone down there, somebody said?
No, that would have been fun, but no, I didn't.
Oh, I thought somebody said you ran one of the clones down there. Huh. I don't know where I got that from.
No, I don't think anybody would trust any West Coast boy to run one of those.
Wow. Well, dude, geez. I mean, thanks for being on the show. I you know, it's just awesome. I mean, what else can you say?
Yeah.
It's just awesome.
Yeah, I appreciate it. You know, I kind of felt bad. There was, you know, certain things that went on at the races in between scoring and the timing deal and stuff like that. And I don't really feel like Why Not Speedway itself got like enough credit for the track that we got to race on, because we got to race on a phenomenal racetrack. I mean, it was to me, that big of a track being that smooth was incredible. You know, they prepped that track continuously. I think they started on like Wednesday or Thursday, and they worked on that track. And, you know, the owner of the track and Johnny Brady, the promoter. I mean, they did an awesome job with that track and what they did, and I felt really bad for them with the race fever deals, having those issues. I don't really know what was causing the problem. I mean, I have my ideas of how we can fix that problem,
Right.
Among the UAS itself, but they did an awesome job with the track, and everyone at the track was super helpful. Obviously, we couldn't fly fuel across the country, and we called them up, and they got us race fuel when we got to the track and hooked us up with race fuel, which, was a cool deal. They just, hey, track us down and we'll get it. And they had, 4 gallons of race fuel waiting for us, which is awesome.
Wow.
Everybody about everything down there at the racetrack, they were really helpful. It was pretty cool.
Did you get to meet Chizzy while you were there?
Yeah, I got to meet him. That was cool. He's an awesome guy. He came up and, I was kind of putting my hard hat on, and, he came over and, hey, you're Eric Stansberry, yeah, Dave Chisholm, and I got to meet his boy as well. And, I mean, they were such cool people. But we met so many people the weekend. I wish I could, go back and take it all in and slow it down, because I met so many different faces. But, yeah, the Chisholm, Dave and his boy, super awesome, top-notch people.
Yeah.
And it was cool, but everyone we met down there, from people that I'd seen, a couple years back at the GNs in Missouri, to people you see on Facebook, and actually getting to see them in person and stuff. It was really, really cool. And everyone's just, made me and Jan, I know we both felt like we were at home.
Wow. That's so cool. Well, man, the Northwest Race Report is stoked for you, man. I just, it's...
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, it's just awesome. Thanks for being on the show, man. And have fun in Vegas. And hit me up when you get back.
Yes, sir, will do. Appreciate it, guys.
Thanks a lot, Eric. We'll talk to you soon, bud.
All right, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
ES7, Grand National Champion, UAS. It doesn't get any cooler than that.
Yeah, and you got to talk to him.
And I get to talk to him. I mean, you can just hear it in his voice. I mean, it's got to just be, that's quite an accomplishment. I mean,
it's great for the West Coast.
It is. Well, and it a couple of things I brought up was like, I was looking to, it was like, winning isn't everything, but the effort to win is. And and I've said this time and time again. I know Lippy said it in his own words when he's scolding us, but it's truly, it's not how you win, because everybody does good at winning. It's what really defines a champion is how you lose. And so my hat's off to Wes Snow. My hat's off to Eric Stansberry. Because, you don't want to, he could easily take that as it's being, clouded, but I don't think that's the case. You can't take that away from him. I mean, he wins the deal. Fast, slow, off, not off. He made 20 laps before anybody else, and that's the object of the deal.
It's been said quite a few times this week that often the fast cart does not win the race.
Yep.
And that's been the case. Not to say that Stansberry wasn't fast. He started 9th and he passed his way up to 2nd. But
and that was after 3 qualifying sessions, right? Or 4, or whatever it was. So
Wes Snow was obviously the fastest kart there, and showed it throughout most of the race. So Stansberry did well, showed his longevity and his equipment's talent, and was there in the end. And I commend him for that, and you can't take that away from him at all. Both Jan and him worked very hard, as well as Jim Bob, Robbie, and all the crew back there. He did put together an awesome crew. If I was to go back there, I would want the same thing. And that's exactly what they did. They networked. They found the right people. They made things happen. When they got there, it all came together. There was several karts that ran out of that pit that weekend, and they all did well. So that's just an attribute or an accolation of the people they put together. It was just all good people that made things happen when they needed to. So,
absolutely.
Sorry to hear that Wes didn't pull it off. He definitely deserved it, but it just wasn't his weekend that weekend. There's a lot of good stuff coming for that guy because he is a good guy, and he's, his day is coming.
Absolutely. October 29th, Salem Indoor Flat Track Bikes kick it off. That's good to know. Cage carts are going to start off. It'll be a cage cart only event November 5th and 6th. It'll be one of two. They've got that new series Schofield's putting on that if you can win the first one and win the second one, you get a big money package. And also, Fly Racing is sponsoring the Cage Kart Challenge, one of the sponsors along with Schofield Carts and Parts. Box stock, first 20, going to pre-reg, you get a free backpack. And plus, there's going to be like $1,500 in gift cards for the Pee Wee Intermediate and 5-horse opens. I want to say great shout out to Joe Warning, who ran there at the UAS. Qualified, started 25th, and he finished in the 6th spot. And also Corey Payton, who finished, 3rd behind Wes Snow because they adjusted everything and got it. But so Corey Payton was fast, too. He had to be there at the end. So not taking away from anything else from the other guys, for sure, because I'm sure there was a lot of great performances back there.
Definitely.
I mean, just getting there, just the fact that you get there is a major accomplishment. I mean, I just don't, nobody should be bowing their heads back there at all, whether you finished 37th or whatever. It doesn't matter. You were there. I mean,
I looked back through their qualifying times, and I seen all the way back to 23rd before they were more than a second off the pace. So that's huge.
It is huge.
From first all the way back to 22nd, all on the same second of the lap. That's huge.
It is huge, especially at a magnitude of an event like that. You just go, good grief. I mean, so that, boy, the BK is going to be interesting now.
It is going to be off the hook for sure, and it's already in the books, already scheduled. So start making your plans.
Yeah.
And making your way this direction.
And I had something else, too, quickly. I had the quick, if you guys go on Facebook, you go to the Arizona UAS page, or you can go to Joe Torres's page. They've got the complete schedule up for the 2016 Holiday Classic. It's going to be December 27th. That'll be practice. 28th, 29th, and 30th. And it sounds like they got some good classes there. 2-cycle super stock, the UAS straight rail F200. That'll be on Burris tires only. Outlaw Junior Clones and the Outlaw Beginners, and then the UAS Juniors, the Adult Animal Heavy. That'll be on Wednesday. And then Thursday, they've got Adult Clones, and then the Arizona Opens, which are air-cooled only at UAS weights.
And then we've got the Outlaw LO206. I'm not sure what the Outlaw means. Then we have the Straight Rail Heavy Outlaw Open 500cc cage carts with a 450 minimum weight. Outlaw Beginners coming in after that. Junior flat carts coming in. This was on my page. It says flat carts. People, don't harass me about that. UAS Juniors.
Get him.
13 to 17 years old, wedge bodies, open fuel 4 strokes, 14.5 max on the cubes, and 2-stroke 100cc piston ports at 320. And that wraps it up for Thursday. I also have Friday on my list here, and it says Outlaw Intermediate cage carts, 125s and 250s, adult clones, heavy at 370, the Unlimited All-Star UAS to be announced, it looks like. And then the Outlaw LO206 again, the UAS Juniors, Adult 206 PKR rules, and the, look here, KT100 Heavy, as well as the Outlaw Open 500cc cage carts coming at you.
Jeff, you had something, man?
Yeah, I kind of, the other night was sitting there thinking, well, the fact is when I went to work at 2 o'clock in the morning, I had this kind of an idea, and I kind of made myself. I decided there was going to be a racer of the week, and last week, Mark Carroll was at the World Outlaws at Skagit.
Yes,
won both nights.
He did. I saw that.
Comes down to Grays Harbor the next night and wins at Grays Harbor convincingly. So he won 3 races in 3 nights. He's my racer of the week.
Damn nice.
That's awesome.
And then we had a couple gentlemen pass away this last week. One of them was up at Evergreen. They do at the fair race. They cone off the straightaway, and they do drag races. I don't know for how far, how long. But a guy on a motorcycle went through, started skidding, and at the end of the track, and they'd already been told about it, but there were some buses, and he took a bus.
Yikes.
And the family of Ed Ritter, our prayers are with you. And then back at Knoxville, they had the Knoxville 100 this last week with the late models, and it's one of the biggest late model pay-in races. There's a man by the name of Shane Unger, 33 years old, passion, late models. And they got in a big wreck, and the car slapped the wall on the driver's side, and he didn't make it. So,
wow.
Prayers out to these families. It's, they're doing what they love to do. If I had to go, I want to go in a race car, but I'm too old for that anymore.
And Kyler Culver says, we call them speedway carts in the Northwest, and we use flat carts at Home Depot.
I love it. I told you I'd get some on that.
Yeah. Well, hey.
That's my fault. I told him to get you.
No, it's cool.
I want to put a shout out to Dave Chisholm and Diotti. Diotti's birthday is today.
Oh, yeah. Happy birthday, Hitman.
Happy birthday to the Hitman and Dave Chisholm and the whole crew, Cody and everybody. Amen to you guys. You are a true testament of what people should be doing.
Absolutely. Without a doubt, Dave Chisholm, you are the guy. And we just want to let you know, I know this summer's been kind of crazy. We've been all over the place, and we got a lot of results. But, the winter time, so come winter, expect. We got our Lapping with Lippy coming back. We're going to have some at-the-track stuff with Jeff. And then we got a new show called In the Groove. So myself, Lippy, and Jeff, throughout the winter, we're going to have some pretty exclusive interviews you'll be able to check out to get to know some of your favorite people more up close and personal, shall we say, so to speak. So look for that coming up this winter. It's going to be some great stuff here on the Northwest Race Report. We're just looking to bring more cool stuff to the table. So you got anything else, Jeff?
Nope. Have a good week.
Absolutely, Lip.
Come on down, rain or shine. We'll be at the ORV Park. If it ain't good enough to race, we will be having a banquet. So make your way down there. Nothing's going to change. We're going to give it a whirl. Don't believe what the weather says.
Right on. Well, I just want to say, man, it's good to be back with you guys. Like they say, it's a team effort. You guys are definitely a huge part of this team, no doubt about it. So,
are we epic?
You are more than epic. More than epic. But if somebody's on the low side, what do you got to do?
Go to the high side.
That's it. Congratulations once again to our Northwest UAS Grandnationals champion Eric Stansberry, as well as the ever classy Mr. Wes Snow. Thanks, Mark Bergfeld, for tuning in, and everybody else. Shane One Time Smith, Jason Suchich, Mark McNutt. I mean, everybody. Kyler Culver, thanks for tuning in, everybody. We'll see you next week.